In today's show, we're going to recap all of the action from Sunday in the NBA. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I am the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com. And you can find me on Twitter, as always, at redrock_bball, on TikTok, at redrock_bball, on Instagram, at Locked On Fantasy Basketball, and Substack, joshloyd48.substack.com. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code LOCKEDON. That's prizepicks.com. The promo code is LOCKEDON. Thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. All right. We did a waiver wire show early today. Don't know what to watch for. Stream show, which had a lot of the injury updates. Just covering off a few little injury things that we need to talk about now before we get into the recaps of the games. Warnie.
Let's get it on, Gilly.
All right, in New Orleans, we've got an update. CJ McCollum is out. Brandon Ingram is doubtful. Larry Nance is questionable. So that means, obviously, big value there for Trey Murphy. Increased value for Jose Alvarado and Devontae Graham. And Najee Marshall might be able to do some work. Now, if Nance is out, you're going to have someone like Jackson Hayes step in and be the backup center, but that obviously helps Jonas Valanciunas a ton as well, if Nance does happen to be out.
Jonas Valanciunas.
Chris Paul is out again in Phoenix. Just keep going with campaign. We just keep riding with him. Anthony Davis, he said he was going to be fine for next game. He's officially questionable. LeBron is probable for the Lakers, so if Davis is out, you're going to get Wenyen Gabriel step into a larger role. You're going to have Austin Reeves be solid enough, and Dennis Schroeder gets that really interesting bump in usage. And then Markelle Fultz, he was close to return, but they've ruled him out already for Monday. We don't have an update yet on whether Jalen Suggs is going to play. He sat out Sunday. They went with Franz Wagner, who is dealing with a tear in a ligament in his hand, by the way. So he was their starting point guard, and they are just all sorts of screwed, really, with the lack of guards that the Orlando Magic have at their disposal at the moment. Let's go straight in and let's take a look at these games. First game we take a look at, it was the early one today. Portland and Brooklyn. The Nets get the win, 111-97. The final score here in this one. Of course, no Damian Lillard or Gary Payton. So Jeremy Grant really taking on big usage, 30% usage here. 29 points with 5 threes and 5 assists. The defensive numbers haven't really been there for Granny. I would obviously be looking to sell high on him. It's tough to do, but there are Jeremy Grant truthers out there. I don't know, that person's probably already got him on their roster, but this is just a level of unsustainability here from Grant. Anthony Simons, again, I'm just always going to state it. Get a top 40 guy back in a trade, otherwise write it out. It's solid value, apart from the fact that he shot 29%. But 15 points, 6 assists, 4 triples, good counting stats, and huge minutes for him as well, 40 minutes. And the big fella, Jusuf Nurkic.
No question about it. I am ready to get hurt again.
Well, Nurk is, top 60 this season? 17 and 14 in 34 minutes. 34 minutes is really intriguing. Now, I would say he's also a little bit of a sell high, but no one is going to do it. No one is going to give you a top 50 player for Nurk. They just aren't. He is top 50 over the last week. I think we just enjoy what's happening. Justice Winslow, the other guy who started, 14, 7, and 6. Now, last game that he started, he didn't do anything. So don't look at this and go, wow, yeah, Lillard out, Winslow's the guy. He is the guy in terms of starting. He is an option in terms of streaming, but usually he's going to be, he was 50 from the field and 100 from the line. That's not what he does. He's going to hurt you there, and therefore the scoring drops. Yeah, a nice rebound, assist, steals, blocks option. That can be a streamable player, but must roster, no. Shaedon Sharpe has been brutal. He is terrible at the moment. I don't know if you could get that as a buy low in a dynasty, but 0 points on 0 of 3 shooting. Yeah, you would think logically that the absence of Lillard would mean that we'd get a little bit of extra value there for Sharpe. It's actually gotten worse. And sometimes that stuff's impossible to predict. Hey, a guard's out, so this other guard who is the sixth man should play more, right? Nah, less minutes. Significantly fewer minutes. That you can't work. Now, he was never a 12-team pickup, obviously. But you can't really predict that someone's just going to completely shit the bed the way that Sharpe has over this little run. No offense to the bloke. Josh the Hitman Hart, 9-4-3. I still really like Sharp long term, by the way, for Dynasty. Josh Hart, 9-4-3 in 36 minutes. For the Nets, Seth Curry, wow. 29 points with 7 triples. What I would encourage you to do with this, he's apparently going to try the back-to-back tomorrow. They're going to get him back-to-back soon, which is great. And he's clearly better than Joe Harris at this stage. I don't think anyone's rostering Joe Harris in even 14-team leagues. But if they are, get that garbage out of here! This was great from Seth, but I do encourage you to look past the points and threes. Your 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal is not particularly good. And this game, this 7 threes came on 70% shooting. The 29 points came on 73% shooting. So obviously, that's not going to stick. But what is encouraging are the minutes and the fact that he had 30% usage. That's really interesting. Is he a 12-team guy? I don't mind having a crack and see what happens. Durant had 31, 5, and 5. Kyrie had 22, 5, and 6. They're solid enough. Benny Simmons just 2 points. Pretty gross. But 12 rebounds, 8 assists, 3 steals. Didn't miss a free throw. He's actually top 20 over the last week, Simmons. Obviously, we don't believe in that long term. But he could be top 50 rest of the way. I don't know. I have skepticism about that as well. But he's been really good. Claxton, 12 and 7 with 2 steals and a block. 32 minutes is encouraging while Simmons is playing like that. And then Harris, just the 16 minutes. The Basmati man, Royce O'Neal, played 38 minutes. Not too good, 7 points there on 5 shots. But he still had the 4 assists. But we've seen the ups and downs of what Royce O'Neal does. I don't expect him to remain a top 100 player. I still don't understand why they're running offense through him as much as they are in terms of distributing. But I just don't see him sticking at this level. And I could very, very easily be proven wrong on that. I see a game like this and it aligns more with what my beliefs are on Royce O'Neal's ability as an NBA player, but also as a fantasy basketball contributor. Today's episode is brought to you by Turo. Turo is the world's largest car sharing marketplace. With Turo, you can book any car you want, wherever you want it, from a community of local hosts. Browse a huge selection of vehicles for just about any occasion or budget across the US, UK, Canada, and now in Australia. Book a spacious SUV or minivan for a family road trip. Get a classic or luxury car for a special event, birthday, or holiday. Find affordable economy cars if you're on a budget and just need to get from A to B. Test drive that new electric vehicle you've had your eye on to see how it fits in your everyday life. Many Turo hosts can even deliver the car right to you. Every trip is backed by liability insurance. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply. Forget boring rental cars and find your drive at Turo, T-U-R-O, Turo.com. Let's go to the second game. Ass kicking. The Warriors beat the Minnesota Timberwolves 137-114, the final score in this one. This was a big Warriors win, an on-the-road win, which we always love. I'm sure they love to see it. I'm sure the Timberwolves fans don't love to see it, but they love to see it, given their struggles on the road this season. On the Warriors side of things, Andrew Wiggins' revenge game had 13, 2 and 2 with 3 threes and 2 steals. Solid enough numbers. He's been obviously really great. Top 10 player actually over the last week we go. That's a sell high. He's not going to maintain that. But he's been top 50 this season. I still don't think top 50 is realistic for Wiggins. But he's been good. 2 good games in a row off the bench for Jordan Poole. 24, 4 and 6 on 53% shooting. Has he figured it out? Maybe. These are really encouraging. While Klay Thompson also good. 21 points, 5 triples, 2 steals and a block on 62%. I think Klay is a massive sell high. I don't know if anyone believes in it, but I think he is. Draymond, this game's a blowout. Draymond scored 19 points on 7 shots. He had 11 assists, while Steph also put up a big line. 25, 11, and 8. Wasn't quite at his elite efficiency, which his efficiency this season is crazy. He's got a higher 2-point percentage than Anthony Davis this season. 25, 11, and 8. Only shot 41%. The last couple of games have dropped him a little bit in that field goal percentage, which was always, I think, going to trend downwards, considering it was at career high levels. But another gigantic rebounding game. 11 rebounds for Steph. No one else cleared 7. Kevon Looney was the next guy. Kuminga had 17 and 6, while Looney had 2, 7 and 4. It was a good game from DiVincenzo too, but I don't think we need to read huge amounts into that. For the Wolves, again, good, solid game from Towns, 31 minutes, 21 points. But part of our concern was the rebounding. He had 4 from here. He didn't block a shot. But at least 57 from the field is good. 100% from the line is good. He's basically bang on, where we thought. He's 12th for the season, 13th for the last week. Sort of bang on, isn't it? End of the first, start of the second. It's where we thought he would be. So after a really slow start, he has improved to get back to that level. Goose, Anthony Edwards. Now, it's been bloody annoying having Anthony Edwards on your roster this season because you were basically punting free throws. But He went 10 of 11 here. 26, 4 and 4, 2 triples. He's back inside the top 40 over the last week. He's almost top 50 for the season. There was a definite buy low opportunity, which has closed. This is great to see him getting back here. While we had Rudy Gobert. Come on, Rudy Gobert.
Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert.
Prior to this one, the two previous were good. This one, not so good. 9 and 10 with a block. It's not terrible, but really bad field goal percentage. He's hovering in that 40s range. We need him to push a little bit higher. Russell had 15, 2 and 6 in 31 minutes. A poor game there from him, but with Jordan McLaughlin out, no one's taken those minutes. And they also had no Jaden McDaniels, so they started Austin Rivers. And of course, you'll be shocked to know that Austin Rivers did nothing. 5, 2 and 1. He's bad. I don't know why he would get minutes. Yeah, but cool. And again, one of those situations where, hey, the guy ahead of Kyle Anderson's actually out. Let's play him fewer minutes. 19 minutes for Anderson, 4 and 3 with a steal. I think Anderson's still worth streaming when you're looking for defensive stats, but that's pretty disappointing. The guy who somehow, for some reason, got the big boost was Jalen Noel. The Christmas tree had 16 points in 24 minutes with 4 triples, 3 assists, and a steal. He is wildly inconsistent. We've seen that all season, and I don't think you need to do anything with adding him, considering the inconsistency of his play and also the inconsistency of his minutes. Third game, Pacers Clippers. Clippers win this one 114-100. It was probably more of a blowout than that, to be fair. Let's talk about sticks.
Stand by your man.
It is unequivocally a great game. 23 and 9 for Jalen Smith, 3 threes, had a block, 57% shooting, hit 100% from the line, 29 minutes. Including this game, he's 171st over the last week. Including this game, he's 176 for the season. This will happen. This is why we're looking at him as an 80s, 90s draft pick, thinking, all right, he's not going to do this every night, but he can shoot, he can score a bit, rebound, block some shots. That's useful. But 4 out of every 5 games, he's been dreadful. And, I jacked him off a while ago, last week maybe. And I that this is going to happen, right? If he keeps getting the opportunities to start, there will be some big games. But I'm not willing to look at this and go, well, it was a mistake to drop him and he's going to continue to do this. He might, and I don't think there's anything wrong with going to grab him and go, oh, maybe. But yeah, I don't think this is going to be a prolonged run of him being this good again. Tyrese Halliburton, 15, 5, 11, definitely not his best. While Timothy John McConnell played 22 minutes, 14 points, 5 assists, 2 steals. He got the extra minutes, and Halliburton played fewer minutes because it was a blowout. Rough game from Miles Turner, 9 and 5 in 20 minutes. He had foul trouble. That did allow Jalen Smith to play extra, and usually when Smith plays at center, he gets roasted. Now, I guess you could say that the opposition center going for 31 and 29 was him getting roasted, but he was able to put up his own numbers there. As for Turner, don't panic there. Nesmith is just one of the worst starters in the NBA. 2 points for him on 14% shooting. Well, Isaiah Jackson didn't really get the bump that we would have hoped, but 4 steals and a block, that's good. He still remains just a luxury stash. If you're struggling, you drop him. If you're in a good position, you hold him. And then we'll see where they go. Bennedict Mathurin, 9 points in 25 minutes. Is he a drop? I reckon he might be. In a points league, he's a lot easier to hold because his value comes from points. But this is the problem. When you don't get the points and you don't get to the line, you do nothing. He didn't get to the line at all, shot 36%. He's 151st ranked player this season. He's 201st over the last week. I think he probably is a hold, but I don't think he's the high upside fantasy option this season that some may think. For the Clippers, we've got to talk about Ivica Zubac because this is insane. Right, 36 minutes for Zubac, 31 points, 29 rebounds, 3 blocks, 82% shooting on 25 usage. There are a number of things here which are unrealistic. 29 rebounds, yeah, it's just not going to happen. 31 points on 25 usage, not going to happen. 82% shooting, not going to happen. He is the 61st ranked player this season. He's 25th over the last week, but prior to this game, he was like 120th over the last week. This game just jumped him way up. His minutes go from 25 to 35. He has big games and small games. He's obviously must roster. This is huge. No one is buying him at a top 40 price. So you try to sell high, sure, do it. But I don't think you're getting anywhere with it. This is just a game where you have him and you go, man, that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. With Kawhi, Paul George, and Luke Kennard out, Robert Covington played 0 minutes because, of course, he played 20 last game. That makes no sense. Terrence Mann had 14, 7, and 5. He's a short-term stream guy. He's a low upside stream, but he's a short-term streamer. And Norman Powell had 19, 5, and 2, and he's also a short-term guy. I don't see these guys having an ability to maintain 12-team league value. Johnny Wall, yeah, look, he's either going to piss on your field goals or free throws, sometimes both. This time it was free throws. 3 of 5 from the line. He had 10, 2, and 8. He is an assist streamer. In points leagues, I like him a little bit more than in category leagues, because he's just got the ability to destroy a lot of your categories. Reggie Jackson was dreadful, 5 points on 20%. We know that he is a streamer only, and you're going to have bad nights in there. While Amir Coffey had 8 points with 5 assists. Not bad assist value for Coffey while those players are out, but Wall, Jackson, Coffey, Powell, Mann, even Nicky Batum. Look, these are not guys that you want on 12-team rosters when even one of those guys probably comes back, George or Leonard, or throwing Kennard as well. Like, they're not guys that are interesting. Now they're just back-end stream-type players, but not absolute must-hold, must-roster type of guys. The Miami Heat beat the Atlanta Hawks 106-98. Really poor performance again from Atlanta. Yeah, they're bad, I think. Anyway, onto the Heat. There was no Jim Butler, no Gabe Vincent, no Victor Oladipo, no Duncan Robinson, but they did get some players back. So they started Lowry, Hero, Strus, Martin, Adebayo, and Caleb Martin's on a massive roll. Top 50 player over the last week. 41 minutes, 20 and 9, 4 assists, 2 steals, and a block. 67% shooting is unrealistic. 41 minutes is unrealistic. If you can sell high, you sell high. But otherwise, you just hold him. You ride this out. And then when Butler comes back and then Vincent comes back, he's not going to do this. I'm pretty confident. Right? We saw it last season. When Butler was out, Martin played well. And guess what we're seeing again this season? Martin out, Butler out, Martin playing well. It's happened a lot. So you enjoy it. And then he'll probably end up being a drop after this, I would guess. Bam had 32 and 8. A little bit empty otherwise, but nice 6 of 6 from the line. And Lowry just had the 9 points, but he did add 9 assists.
Double cheeked up on a Thursday afternoon.
2 steals and a block. He's been one of the better fantasy draft steals this season. You can get him at 100. He's the 50th ranked player. Tyler Hero continues to be a little bit weird.
Everyone has a hero. True. 0 people shouldn't have a hero.
11, and 10. It's a triple-double. Shout out Ray Felton, but 23% shooting. He was perfect from the line. He played 40 minutes. Another big rebound game. That's a sort of wonky for him this season. But it's good to get that level of production. While the Winter Soldier had 16 points, Max Strus hit 4 threes. I honestly don't see how he maintains long-term 12-team league value. For now, we hold him. But even this game, 16, 3 and 1, 40% shooting, no free throws, is not particularly good. Haywood Highsmith went to the locker room, didn't return after 23 minutes. Onto the Hawks, Trae Young. Yeah, there was so much talk in the preseason about the addition of DeJounte Murray and Trae's going to play off ball. And I was pretty strong in saying, like, I think you're an idiot coach if you look at this offense and go, Trae, we'd love for you not to have it and orchestrate our offense so DeJounte Murray, a notoriously worse shooter and passer and offensive initiator, so he can do it. Yes, when Trae's not there, DeJounte, you do it, right? I thought it would have been a pretty bad decision to do that. And it turns out that despite Nate McMillan's many flaws, he also agrees with me that taking the ball out of Trae Young's hands, or Trae Young maybe agrees with me that taking the ball out of Trae Young's hands to give it to DeJounte Murray is a bad idea. So it's just not happening. DeJounte Murray played 39 minutes. He had 13, 5, and 2. His rebounds are down because he's playing with Clint Capella, who's an excellent rebounder, and John Collins, who's a good rebounder. His assist rate is plummeting. His shooting, which had been bad every year of his career, basically until last season, is dropping. His steal rate is low. He's the 81st ranked player over the last week. I don't think that he ends up as a first round or second round player this season, DeJounte. I think I was drafting around the 26 mark maybe. I reckon that's probably where he goes, maybe even lower. He can be better than this. He's also one of the most annoying blokes, if not the most annoying bloke in the NBA. And maybe that colors some of my opinions, but the numbers are also not lying. Like, nothing's going right for him. As for Trae, it's, apart from the bad shooting, he had 22, 5, and 14, and 25% shooting. Everything is just sort of where it is. 14th over the last week. I think he's going to get back to being a first-round player, but the shooting needs to tighten up. DeAndre Hunter, one of his better games, actually. 18 points with 2 steals. Only 3 rebounds, though. Not a 12-team league player. While the Baptist had 23 and 14. Well, how good is it to get a big John Collins game? We don't get him that often. There was no Clint Capella. He's still dealing with tooth pain. They started Onyeka Okongwu, who played 34 minutes. His offense has been pretty lacking, but he had another 2 blocks. But I don't really think there's any point holding a Kongwu once Capela's back. Use him for these situations and that's it. Adrian Griffin Jr. hit 2 threes. He only shot 23%, but he is a good 3-point streamer until at least Bogdan Bogdanovic returns, which maybe that's soon, maybe it's not, but I don't think it's too far away. Today's episode is also brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is daily fantasy, but it's the thinking man's daily fantasy. You don't have to worry about salary cap. You don't have to worry about going up against thousands of other people. It's just you versus the daily projections that PrizePicks puts out. So they'll go Trae Young over under 9.5 assists. You go, I'll take over. Yeah, DeJounte Murray over under 3.5 ship-bloke actions. Probably don't want to go with that one, because they don't offer it. But they do offer all sorts of other little props and individual player projections that you go over-under on. And you can put 2 to 6 of those together in one entry and win up to 25 times back on your entry. How good's that? It's not just basketball, though. You can do disc golf. You can do the PGA, NFL, NHL, the World Cup, cricket, college sports, boxing, MMA. So many different sports. And you can do it in under 60 seconds. Currently operational in over 30 states and in Canada. So download the PrizePicks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code Locked On. If you deposit $100, PrizePicks will give you $100. If you deposit $50, PrizePicks will give you $50. Don't forget, enter the promo code Locked On at sign up for an instant deposit match of up to $100. All right, let's do the next one. The Memphis Grizzlies, they get over the line in the end against the Knicks, 127-123. Of course, Desmond Bane was still out for the Grizzlies. Ja Morant, 27, 10, and 14. Didn't hit a 3, unfortunately, and was just 45% from the field, but still really good line. He is like top 12 for points leagues, but he's not that high in category leagues because we know the deficiencies of his game. But it was, credit where credit's due, a good game from Dillon Brooks. 23 points on 50% shooting. He had 4 assists with 3 threes. While Bane is out, there is streamability here for Brooks. I don't think it lasts, but there is streamability here now. And Jaren Jackson played 30 minutes, so he's back. Your regular minutes already. Good. 21 and 5, 3 threes. Didn't shoot well, but the minutes is what I really love here. Brandon Clark, just the 17 minutes. So I think the potential of Brandon Clark playing more because Jaren is back should be wiped away. He played 17 minutes, had 9 and 4. You can go ahead and drop him. While Lil John Concha, really good rebounds guy, replacing Bane, 10, 8, and 2. He is a 12-team league guy for now. I would prioritize him over Brooks, but that's really going to, in a category league, that's really going to come down to what stats you're looking for. In a points league, it's really clear that Brooks, like you have him there any day of the week. 31 minutes for Steve O. Adams, 16 and 10. Really strong game there. While Santi Aldama, people, for some reason, God knows what, are still rostering Santi Aldama in 12 and 14-team leagues.
Get that garbage out of here!
7 and 3 in 18 minutes. You can drop Tyus Jones unless you're looking for assists. He had 2 points with 7 assists. For the Knicks, they had basically a full roster, which we haven't really seen all that much. So looking at how they got their rotation going was something we needed to pay attention to. Quentin Grimes played 26 minutes as a starter. He had 5, 2, and 4. All right, so they're good minutes for him, obviously. He's not a 12 or 14-team league guy. Cam Reddish played 24 off the bench, had 11 points with a steal. 67% shooting. He is also not a 12-team league guy. These are 16-team league players. Emmanuel Quickley played 9 minutes and then got hurt with knee soreness. So we thought there was a chance that we'd get some really good Quickley minutes. Rose might not play, Reddish might not play, Brunson might not play. Everyone played and then Quickley got hurt. Sometimes this shit happens. So was it a bad stream? In the end, yeah, like it was. It was terrible. Lots of people added in and it didn't work out. Like that's stuff you can't really predict in that way. You try and take the look at where the value might be headed, and it didn't head there. Hartenstein played 15 minutes. Mitchell Robinson played 32 with 5 blocks, 16-7 for Mitch. Hartenstein 4 and 4. The talk of his Achilles being a problem, the coach being a problem. He didn't say that, but I did. You can drop Isaiah Hartenstein. He's just getting such low usage and not playing the game that he played for the Clippers last season. Yeah, no need to hold him. Simple as that. Rowan Barrett, 22, 7, and 4. 50% shooting. Much better game. Again, like I detailed on the waiver wire show earlier today, I think it was. If you drafted him, you should know what the issues are. And you drafted him specifically for a purpose. If you didn't know those issues and you drafted him, well, then you consider whether he's worth holding, irrespective of rank. Like, is he ranked 200th? I think he is. 199th. But that might make sense to you to get someone who might score 20 points. But it might not also. Jalen Brunson was questionable coming in. He had 30-5 with 9 assists on 3 threes. He was unbelievable, 11 of 12 from the line. A little bit off on his field goal percentage, but he has been an absolute cracker this season. And as I said, Mitchie Robinson, 16-7 with 5 blocks. Good stuff from him if he is on your wire, and he shouldn't be. But if he is, go and grab him. Let us go across to the next game. The Sixers against the Magic, just undermanned teams all over the shop here, and the Sixers smacked them. 133-103, no Embiid, no Harden, no Maxey, no Thibault, and then PJ Tucker was out after halftime. This guy is just carrying at the moment. He's doing that thing, and I don't have a word for it, and I need to find a word for it, but he's getting extra opportunity, 38 minutes, and there's players out, but then he's also putting unsustainable performances on top of that. So we knew that volume would get him into good numbers, and he was a must-have play, but he shot 77% from the field. Like, that has no way of being real. But you compound that with increased usage and increased minutes, and he looks like an absolute world beater. Because, let's be honest, he's a first-round player over the last week. Like, this is ridiculous numbers. He's shooting the absolute lights out. Now, he could have played 38 minutes a night and shot 40% from the field, and he still would have been valuable. But he has amplified it almost on a logarithmic scale as to how good he has been, because he is turning unsustainable, ridiculous, ludicrous shooting and putting it on top of a 20 to 25 minute bump in his playing time. It's amazing. We also got a good game from the Thick Hogsman.
I think I am a TH.
T to the H.
Yeah, TH for life.
Good game from Tobias Harris, 25, 5 and 5, 2 steals and a block, shot the ball well. And Paul Reed, 30 minutes, 12 and 13, a steal, 2 blocks, 6 of 6 shooting. Paul Reed is so clearly better than Montrezl Harrell, and he is the guy that I would want over Joel Embiid. Jesus Christ, no. Over Montrezl Harrell while Joel Embiid is out. DeAnthony Melton struggled a little bit, 11, 3 and 2, 3 steals and a block. He's still a must-roster player. Well, Dan House, he started the second half with Tucker out. 19 points for him in 25 minutes. He's a guy that was playing like 13, 14 minutes, though, when people were healthy. So I wouldn't overreact to him. While Georgie Niang, normally he's been a good stream guy. He wasn't awesome here. 9, 4 and 5. It's not bad. 5 assists is good. But you would have hoped for a few more threes. While Harrell had 9 and 7. Also had 2 blocks, which is also very un-Montrezl Harrell-like. I should have mentioned Furky from Turkey. Furkan Korkmaz had 17, 2 and 4 in 25 minutes, but shot 86%. Another one of those ones. You got the minutes, and then you shot, everything just went in. And it makes everything look better. We don't stream in Furkan unless it's deeper leagues. For the Magic, the injury list is embarrassing. No Cole Anthony, no Wendell Carter, no Jalen Suggs, no Chuma KK, no Markel Fultz, no Voldemort. And then they lost Mo Bamba and Terrence Ross at halftime. They started a lineup that had one guard, and that was Gary Harris, who didn't really do much. 11 points, 5 assists in 29 minutes. They started Franz Wagner at point guard, who's dealing with a ligament tear in his hand, I believe. 17, 3 and 2. Bol played, I thought, some poor defense, but the stats are okay. 7, 4 and 3 with 3 steals and 2 blocks. I would always be entertaining a sell high on him. They also started in the second half. Yes, we get to do it. They started Flaming Mo Wagner. I actually think Wagner's a pretty good player. 12 and 6, 4 assists and a steal. I think he's a better player than Bamba. And I wouldn't be shocked if he starts getting minutes ahead of him. Now, he got him here, obviously, because of injury. But nearly every time he plays, he outperforms him, I think. Roderick Hampton. 11 points, 26 minutes for Hampton. Nothing exciting there. Well, it was pretty smelly from Paulo Banchero. 18 points looks good. But it's why it's always important to dig past the points column. 1 3, 1 rebound, 1 assist. 41% on big volume, 50% from the line on big volume. That hurts a lot. Paulo is now outside the top 75 for the season, and there are going to be issues with both his free throws and his field goal percentage. And some of the early block numbers, maybe they fall away as well. But it's hard to read huge amounts into this game, considering everyone that was out. Like, does Wendell play tomorrow? Does Suggs play tomorrow? Fultz is out as well. Is this team ever going to be healthy? And when they are, who the hell misses out? One of the most confusing rosters in the NBA. I also didn't talk about a bloke by the name of Caleb Houston, who had 12 points with 4 threes. He occasionally does this, and you occasionally have to pay zero attention to it. Well, not occasionally. Literally always. Do not care about what Caleb Houston is doing. Even in Dynasty Leagues, I don't think he's an NBA caliber player. The Celtics beat the Wizards 130-121. It wasn't really that close. The Wizards brought it closer towards the end. There was no Kyle Kuzma or Rui Hachimura for Washington, but they got the return of Monty Morris. And I'm not going to do the Monty Morris boring voice because 16, 3, and 8 is not boring. He shot 75%. I'm not rushing to grab Morris after that, but it is a good game. Beal had 30 points with 4 assists and 2 steals, and Porzingis had 21 points in his 26 minutes. Again, he didn't have to play big minutes in this one because the game was over early and then they made a comeback late. We also got 30 inexplicable minutes from Will Barton.
You will! No, he's ready to sack that. Run, Will! Give it off quick!
He had 6 points, while Corey Kispert continues to be a disappointment. 8 points in 22 minutes. We were looking at what Deni Avdija was doing. He was putting up good numbers without Beal and without Morris. We wondered sort of how it would fit. Well, this is the disappointing part about Avdija and the fantasy value. 10 points in 27 minutes, 2 threes, 1 rebound, 3 assists. And I don't expect that when Kuzma returns, it gets better. So he's fine to have, he's fine to stream, he's fine to use for that purpose. But long-term, as a must-roster 12-team league guy, I don't think he's there. Jordan Goodwin sort of fallen off a bit. He had 2 steals and a block. He can be one of those streamer types, like a diet Dennis Smith Jr., I guess, as a guard. For the Celtics, there was no Jason Tatum. So Grant Williams moved back into the starting lineup. He didn't really do anything. 5 points, 7 rebounds, 32 minutes. Now, Al Horford, I'm really worried for the man. I think he might develop back spasms overnight. So, sorry, Al, if that's what happens. So Grant is probably worth a hold in that scenario, and it might even be worth streaming in Luke Cornett, who had 12 and 4 with 2 blocks in 22 minutes for tomorrow. But otherwise, Grant's not a must-roster guy. Jaylen Brown had 36 points.
JB, you've done it again.
Seemed to be hurting his shoulder or sore shoulder in this game, so just watch that. 36, 5, and 2 on 57% shooting, while Derek White, 15, 2, and 3 with 2 steals. We just keep rolling with White while players are out, like Tatum. Horford might be out tomorrow, but I don't really see White as a must-roster long-term player. Same with Brogdon, who, again, as expected, was able to step up his usage with no Tatum, 17, 6, and 4. So hold those guys until we get those players back like Tatum and then Horford for next game as well. Sam Hauser is a nice 3-point streamer. He had 14 points with 3 triples in this game. The next one that we take a look at, the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Detroit Pistons. The Pistons were pretty competitive and they were leading this one for a while, but in the end the Cavs win at 102-94. Cleveland was without Love, LeVert, Jarrett Allen, and Lamar Stevens. So they started Robin Lopez. He played 4 minutes and never returned. In the second half, they started Isaac Okoro, who had played 30 minutes and had 7 and 6 and is not a fantasy option. Don Mitchell. We wanted to watch the Don Mitchell assists. He had 1. The free throws are great. The 32 points is great. But that big assist number was keeping him as a top 10 player. It's going to drop him back down now when they continue to fall like this. It was a rough game from Garland, percentage-wise, 19 points on 19 shots. That's 21%. But he had 10 assists. He also got to the line 12 times. Mitchell went 13 times, and they both missed just 1. So big free throw, important numbers there. And without Allen, without Love, without LeVert, Mobley played well. 20 and 13, 40 minutes. He's had some disappointing moments, but he's not far off sort of where he wants to be or where we want him to be, around the 40s. I know some people went into the 30s or 20s for him, but I think top 50 would be a good result for him. Chetty Osman played 27 minutes and Dean Wade played 34. Neither of those guys look like they can be 12-team league options or probably not even 14-team league options. To be honest, for the Pistons, Killian Hayes, 33 minutes, 16, 3 and 8, 2 threes, 2 steals and a block. Be aware that Killian Hayes is going to have some bad performances. He's going to be up and down, but the expectation for me is Cade Cunningham is done for the year. I think Killian should be rostered. I think Alec Burks probably should be as well.
Alec Burks.
He played 25 minutes after being under 20 the last 2, 17 points. And there's not much else going on there. In fact, there's nothing. 17, 2 and 0. But that scoring upside is useful. They were without Isaiah Stewart, Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, and Bojan Bogdanovic. Let's eliminate Cunningham from that. But Bogdanovic, Ivey, and Stewart, 3 starters. So Sadiq Bey came back from his ankle problem, played 35 minutes and had 15 and 5 with 2 steals and a block. Undoubtedly a big line, or undoubtedly a solid line. Wasn't great because he still shot 40 from the field and 67 from the line. But if you know someone in your league's a big Sadiq Bey believer and you've got him, I would trade him away after this. I don't think he's going to start long term. I don't think Bogdanovic is a serious injury. Stewart is going to return really soon. Bey will go back to the bench. He might play 27 minutes a night. And even in what he's done so far, he's not a top 130 player. I don't think he's a must-roster guy as we move forward. Maybe Marvin Bagley is. 28 minutes. Now, again, we try and look at the trends. Bagley, bench for Duren, bench for Duren, bench for Duren, bench for Duren. in closing the games, Duran's getting more minutes. In the last two, let's switch it. It's Bagley over Duran again. Okay, cool. So we adjust from that. I think Bagley is a 12-team points league guy. He's hitting free throws at a better rate. He had 9, 10, and 10, and actually brought defensive stats. If Marvin Bagley brings defensive stats like this, then he is a 12-teamer. 3 steals and a block, 50 from the field, 75 from the line. He's playing well. I don't mind adding him. If they're gonna, I think it's stupid for the development of the team, but that doesn't matter. The problem I have there is that it's been like 2-3 games where he's played these big minutes, and prior to that, it was Duran getting the minutes in all of them. I don't think Stewart has much of an impact, but he might lop a minute or two off. But it's not a bad grab to have Bagley just to see if he can maintain this improved performance, especially in some of his shooting numbers. Isaiah Livers played 27 minutes. He had 3 blocks. That's a nice surprise. While the man who had been dominating, Kevin Knox, had 3 points on 3 shots. We don't trust bad players. It was a good little run from Knox, good couple of games, but he's not a 12-team league guy, and I don't think we need to worry about it. Jalen Duran, that's bad. 1 and 6 in 20 minutes. He is just a luxury stash. We thought it was trending in the right direction. We thought he was getting those minutes over Bagley. They changed their mind, so you can too. You move on if you want, or you hold and see, will something click? Will Dwayne Casey play him 26 a night every single night, not this back and forward? It's worth holding in the situations where you can afford to. And it might not be for everybody. You've got to understand where your team sits, but it's obviously the last couple trending in the wrong direction. I just forgot to mention this. Rodney Magruder started. What are we doing? You deserve to lose, started Rodney Magruder. 2 points in 18 minutes. What's the point of this? Obviously, don't add Rodney Magruder anywhere. But, I thought it was worth bringing to your attention that he, in fact, started the game in November of 2022. All right, let's do the last game of the night. The Bucks beat the Mavericks pretty easily. That final score probably flatters Dallas a little bit. It's 124-115, garbage time in this game. We had no Reggie Bullock. He was resting. It must be hard missing 12 shots a game. They put Tim Hardaway in there, and at least they got the same level of performance. 6 points on 25% shooting with no rebounds, no assists, no steals, and no blocks. Shout out to Do Nothing Wings. The only reason to even consider Hardaway or consider Bullock is the fact that the Mavericks have the Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday schedule this week. That's it. And I think that means that we add Dorian Finney-Smith. That's 2 good games in a row for DFS. 13, 4 and 3, 3 steals, 2 triples. He played 38 minutes. That's a massive win. That production's really good across the board. I don't think that he's going to be a long-term 12-team league guy, but for this week, yeah, sure. We really like it. Dinwiddie had 22, 3 and 2, and Luka Doncic had 27, 5 and 12.
Oh, stunning.
Yeah.
It wasn't a great free throw night for Luka. 4 of 9 from the line. He was 50% from the field, which is good. He has dropped off since his early season production. He's outside the top 30 over the last week, actually. Obviously, he was really good to start the year, but it's starting to get back to old Luka outside of field goal percentage, which is up. Let's talk about the crucifix, though. 21 and 7 in 32 minutes for Christian Wood, 2 threes. I did a show over the weekend saying, hey, is Christian Wood going to start soon? And then, of course, that very next game, he didn't start. He also didn't start this game, but he started the second half, and at some point, even numbnuts Jason Kidd has to relent on what he's been doing. Like, he has to. Surely this is it. So I think Wood's value is going to go up. I would try, maybe, is there any buy value ability here for the people who don't think that Wood will start moving forward or didn't see that he started in the second half? Maybe. I think that he's still going to have issues with his percentages. No, well, more to be accurate, his free throw percentage. But I think we might start getting 33, 34 minutes a night of Christian Wood. He might average 20 and 10. He might get you a block. Now, it's going to be low assists. We know this. But there is going to, I think, be a bit of a change. It's going to hurt someone like Spencer Dinwiddie, losing some usage touches there as well. So I think be prepared, because I think Wood's numbers are going to go up. Dwight Powell started. He had 4 points in 7 minutes. So that's cool. McGee didn't play. Lucky. Oh, sorry, that's not true. McGee played in garbage time. Lucky they signed him to that contract. Pretty sick move that was. While Maxi Kleber had 6 points with 2 threes and a block. He's always been a blocks and threes streamer. It's still just for deeper leagues, though. Joshy Green didn't do much in his 20 minutes. For the Bucks, Grayson Allen went crazy. Do not rely on this. 25 points, 7 triples, 5 assists, 2 steals, and a block. But he's top 100 over the last week. He's playing better. But he shot 80% here. Right? It's not going to happen. And like so many of these 3-point streamers, Max Strus and Malik Beasley and other guys that I can't think of off the top of my head, they'll have these little hot streaks. That Chris Middleton's going to come back and have an impact on him, whenever the hell that is. But yeah, if you want to stream Allen in, by all means do it. But you've missed the best game that he's going to have. Javon Carter had 14, 3 and 6 in 31 minutes. He will also lose out. But interestingly, Nwora played only 11 minutes. Connaughton played only 11 minutes. Wes Matthews played only 9 minutes. And they really lent into Javon Carter. He's probably got a 25-minute-a-night role as we move forward. And I wouldn't drop him... I wouldn't drop him until Chris returns. I think he could be dropped. But, he's going to have some interestingly good nights, some nights that are bad. This was a good one. I'm just not really sure where I'm seeing. Like, do they just continually limit Connaughton and Matthews and Hill so that he plays 25 minutes? I don't know. I'm a little bit confused as to Carter's ongoing role. Brook Lopez, the best player in the NBA, apparently. 13, 4, and 2, steal 4 blocks. He's been unbelievable. Has he been more of an unbelievable story this season, him or Bol? I actually don't know which one is more unbelievable. And I'm just annoyed now talking about Bol that I didn't play the Orlando Magic theme song before, but I'm going to do it now because I mentioned an Orlando Magic player. Giannis, 29 minutes only for the big fella.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
And would you look at that? On a Sunday, he comes to save 80% from the line on 10 attempts, 58 from the field. Remember, he was like, over the last, I think it was this time last week, he was like the 440th best player in the NBA for fantasy, allegedly. Okay, when rankings get skewed. He's now back to 30th over the last week. That'll bump after this game as well. And again, you didn't really need to worry. This field goal percentage would come back up. The free throws, if they come up or not, doesn't matter. You know that. You knew that was what he was providing on your team. Drew had 16, 1, and 6 with 3 steals, while Bob Portis played 32 minutes. A lot of minutes for Punch Bob there. 15 and 10 for him. I don't think he's going to maintain current value. I do think he's a sell high, but it was interesting to see him get that much playing time. I guess some of it is because Brook Lopez was in foul trouble, and that's why Lopez only played 23 minutes. So look at that from Portis. Maybe that turns him into a sell high if you can convince the other manager that maybe he's good enough to continue to get that playing time. I don't think he is, but maybe some people do believe he is. All right, let's look at the lines of the night. The monstrous line of the night, of course, goes to Ivica Zubac. Zubac? Why did I say that? Ivica Zubac. Yeah, dominating. Waiver wire is Grayson Allen. Young gun is Sam Hauser, amazingly. There wasn't many big performances from first or second year players. And the dud of the night goes to a first or second year player, Paulo Banchero, who was pretty bad for your fantasy team today. The top 10 players in category leagues, number 1 was Zubac. Imagine this, for a day with 9 games on. Number 1 performers, Ivica Zubac, followed by Shake Milton. Tobias Harris, Caleb Barton, and Grayson Allen. What a top 5. Then it was Seth Curry. Then it was Steph Curry. That's 6 and 7. Bam is 8. Paul Reed is 9. And Jaylen Brown at number 10. Your top 10 players who rostered in under 50% of leagues. Grayson Allen, we just talked about that. I'm not really sure that he's a stream option. I mean, you can try it and see where it goes, but long term, I don't see it. Seth Curry, yeah, look, he's playing well. Paul Reed until Embiid is back, no worries. Finney Smith, love the schedule this week. Furkan Korkmaz, no interest. Number 6 is TJ McConnell. Number 7 is Dante DiVincenzo. McConnell's a good assist streamer. DiVincenzo, not interested in that. Hauser for deeper leagues, sure. Justice Winslow at 9. He can be a short-term 12-team league guy. And I just spoke about my thoughts on Javon Carter, and I'm pretty conflicted about it. Yeah, maybe we have him in 12s. I think he's probably more a 14-team league player. But, I'm still not really sure where I sit with that. For points leagues, your top 10 players. Zubac, Morant, Brunson, Giannis, Trae Young, Shake Milton, Tobias Harris, Draymond Green, Steph Curry, and Bradley Beal. And that will do it for us today. Don't forget, hey, if you do like this mustache, donate. au.movember.com. Link is in the description. I want to hit 3,000. It'd be great if I can get there. I am over $2,000 raising money for men's mental health, suicide prevention, prostate cancer, and testicular cancer. Not supporting testicular cancer. We're supporting the elimination of it. Not like, yeah, testicular cancer, let's go. We're trying to get rid of it with raising money. So that's if you like the mustache, do that. Follow this podcast, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and on Odyssey. If you're on YouTube, thumb it up, subscribe, ring the bell, and leave the comments. Guys, we're done. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.